High vibes, everyone.
Yo, what's up?
Welcome to another Vibration Rewind, Astro Solsin Rewind, Vibration.
Vibration Rewind. Yeah, we're about to go over what is enlightenment and tell you guys about enlightenment and spiritual stuff.
Yes, direct from the MC Astro Solsin on the Reprogram the Matrix channel. Make sure to check that out as well. We'll have a link
Give a like.
in the description after we post this. There'll be a link for it, so make sure to leave a like, comment, all that good stuff. We love you guys.
And shout out to everyone that joins the live streams as well and becomes pretty much interacting with us, because the more we interact, the more personal we can get with each other, and the more like you'll feel connected with Vibration. You'll feel connected with the pretty much platform that we're providing you guys for help on the spiritual, mental, and physical level. So yeah, we can just get right into the video if you want.
Awesome, yeah.
Sweet.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
This is gonna be a good one. Get your popcorn, y'all.
Yeah, boy. What is it?
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Astro Solsin. Welcome back to the channel. In this episode, I wanted to go ahead and share some information that I was actually sharing the other day with Brother Steven. We had a very, very good call yesterday. And I was sharing some information with him that I wanted to go ahead and just relay over to all of you out there dealing with enlightenment. And shouts out to Brother Steven, definitely turning up. We're actually going to be meeting here in the physical sometime soon because we're pretty close. So that's going to be very, very good. We'll probably get some footage because we know it's going to be a high vibing time. But yeah, check out his website too, highvibebands.com. I have a link in the description where you can go ahead and get some high vibing stuff that help you out on your path, also help turn you up, and some stuff related to RTM. But yeah, so one of the things that I was talking to him about was enlightenment and what enlightenment really is. Because a lot of people, they think that enlightenment is like having certain abilities, being able to astral project, being able to perform telepathy and all that type of stuff. That's not what enlightenment is. Enlightenment actually is when you are able to accept the reality for what it is, when you are able to accept the yin and the yang, the dualistic part of the reality. And what I mean by that is, let's say, for example, you're living your life and something negative happens, something pulls you into a negative dip, and you just don't want to accept it. You're like, no, I can't deal with that, like some people, someone could pass away in their life, there could be a death in the family, a close friend or something like that, and they just don't want to accept it. They just can't believe it happened, right? But that's part of, pretty much a fear, a fear of losing something when you don't ever lose anything, because you're a part of everything. A part of that person's spirit is inside of you. Just like the spirit inside of me is within you. That's why when I see you doing certain.
You want to say something first?
Yeah, I can go into it for a second. So yeah, basically what I was getting from that, like what he's saying right there, is like seeing that enlightenment comes when we can accept everything as it is. It's more than just a temporary experience, or some like perceived like. People talk about like, oh, you have to have all these meditations. And obviously, meditation is really important and stuff. And then you have this experience of enlightenment, and you're just enlightened. But really, it's more of an actual being, like getting in tune with, like how he's saying, the same spirit in me is the same spirit as you, and getting past any fears that are limiting that sort of connection. Like that's getting closer to that true spiritual enlightenment, because it's getting back to you see the reality, you see the duality for what it is, and then you get back into unity, you get back into balance, and that's sort of what I was getting from that.
Yeah, so when you hear okay, so how do I become enlightened, but how can I get the right information to actually become enlightened myself? Because enlightenment, you have to go through many stages of consciousness, and I'm not saying whatsoever that I'm totally enlightened, like I am perfect, we're perfect, because enlightenment, it's throughout your whole life. So whenever you're trying to go towards this enlightenment status, you have to get the right information. And you look at Astro Solsin, you look at the brother talking in the video, and he's telling you like experiences he's experienced that has gained him more access to becoming more in tune with the present moment, accepting the reality more. And this is how you get that information to take action towards becoming that enlightened spiritual being that you want to be. You actually need to experience certain things in order to deal with the ego within this reality, because you can be going through this reality, right, and you're living in this fantasy reality, you're living in the dream world that has been created for you due to the programming, due to the manipulation of the mind. So now you're thinking that you're having all this information where all the information that you've gathered hasn't come from within. And when it's from within, it's from firsthand experience. You're having the information brought to you by the television, by like the people outside of yourself, like friends, family members, work associates. That's not the real information, because they're just going to give you information that's going to pretty much benefit them in a way, but also try to pull you off your path, because you see people like the opposite of enlightenment is pretty much disconnecting. Ignorance. So they're going to provide, if you're not getting information that's actually going to not only help you get the first-hand experience, but help you connect better and pretty much get in tune with the people on the right vibration, that's not going to lead you to the enlightened path that you're needing to get on in order to get access to the first-hand experiences that you want, in order to have the ability to say, I've actually been through the steps, I know how to accept the reality now, I know how to deal with my emotions better, I know how to deal with situations better. And it all goes from just having that connection within yourself first, so you can have like the true experiences you want to have. And yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to say. I don't want to get like too deep. This isn't a long video, so I'm trying to like talk more about like and get more in depth with what I'm talking about when I'm talking about like enlightenment, because there's so many different aspects to being in the process and being on the journey of getting towards enlightenment, that everything goes into the enlightenment. Like all the videos that have been on Astro Solsin's channel, everything is leading you to accepting the real reality and living in the real reality to actually experience what's the true experiences, the spiritual experiences that come before the mind experiences and the body's experiences. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. But yeah, let's keep watching this high vibing video.
So true, brother. So true.
Certain things, I know that's a reflection of me. When I see you guys turning up, I know a lot of people in the community, they've been posting their videos and stuff. I watch those videos and I see that same spirit inside of me, inside of you. And, you know, I enjoy that. So when I see things happen in life, even if it's not necessarily the most positive thing, you know, I accept it for what it is. It doesn't mean that I won't try to change things. It doesn't mean that I won't try to, you know, achieve certain goals in life and things like that. But I just learned to accept the flow of reality. You know, I understand that that's what enlightenment is. So an enlightened being is somebody that, you know, isn't going to get all dramatic, isn't going to, you know, get angry and things like that because certain things happen. They're going to learn how to accept reality for what it is. And that was kind of hard for me when I started to, you know, wake up. And when I mean wake up, this was like my false awakening. And I've talked about this before, where I thought I was awakened, you know. I was thinking I was enlightened, but I actually wasn't at the time. You know, it was just a false awakening, a false enlightenment, where I didn't want to accept certain things that I was starting to learn about the reality. I didn't want to accept that I was being lied to. I didn't want to accept that the reality that they were telling me existed wasn't really the true reality. That, you know, there was all these cover-ups, there were all these lies, there were all of these illusions and trickery going on, and it actually made me upset and angry, you know, and that was for a while, and I wanted to fight against it, but then I realized.
But so he's talking about like, what happened?
I forgot to change it back.
Oh,
Yeah, that was my
okay, it's okay. So he's talking about like when he first started waking up, when he first started actually like getting on the direct spiritual path, and even before the direct spiritual path, like it's hard to wake up to the fact that the life you've lived already could have been off the ego. It could have been off experiences that your mind was telling you. And that's why whenever people like start to wake up and get on their direct spiritual path, they mention it as to be like a rebirth to a degree. They're still using the mind, but now they see that they're not their mind. So this can scare people when they start to see like the truth of reality. That's why whenever like you start connecting with people and you give them certain information, later on they might come back to that information and be like, okay, I know who to reach out to. That's why people, like, if you try to turn them up, they might not start turning up directly, because first they have to have the first-hand experience themselves. Like, you can give someone all the information you want. We can sit here and make all these astro rewinds, but if you don't actually get out there and experience yourself, that's not going to lead you to taking more steps towards your process of becoming on the spiritual path, because it's going to be scary. It's always scary. Because not knowing what comes next, you don't know, you just have to like face your ego a lot of the times. You have to face like certain realizations about yourself. Like you might be really prideful, right? Like you might have a bunch of pride in what you do, and pride isn't bad. Like there's spiritual like pride you can like tune into, but then there's the ego's pride that it doesn't want to accept the real reality. It doesn't want to accept that we've been lied to, that people here actually don't know what's going on. Like they are just trying to make a system and control people to have a sense of comfortability, a sense of pretty much a platform that they can fall back on and be like, oh, I don't have to actually tune into what's right because I'm getting provided with everything that I need to become comfortable, to become stagnant. And this is what has happened to many people. The stagnant energy causes people to not get on the spiritual path that leads them to the enlightened state that they actually want to be in. So yeah.
Good stuff in there. All right, I'm gonna actually put it on the video again this time, so you guys can see it.
Sweet, getting more messages too. I was just thinking about how the school teachings only teach about their system and their history, but spirit books go on 44 ever. That's true. Yeah, with the school's programming, like they're on the same curriculum for years. They just update the books, and it's like you can read books all you want, but
Spirit school is infinite.
Yeah,
it's ongoing. It's like we always are enrolled in spirit school. You know, to reach enlightenment, you always have to be seeking that truth. You have to be seeking that path and that awareness to continue forward. Mm-hmm. And that's why they want you distracted. They want you in all their systems and stuff. But yeah, we'll get back into it.
Yeah, vibes to that. Thanks for the comment.
You know, my job here isn't to fight against the negativity. It's to just spread more positivity, to spread more love. And the negativity will always be there. You know, I can't change the world. You know, I can't change anybody for that matter. You know, the only person I can change is myself. And part of that change is learning to accept parts of who I am. You know, like some of you probably seen the Mama Solsin video, and she was basically explaining some of this. And that video, because I know Brother Ajax was actually asking me if there was going to be more videos like that. That was just, you know, in the moment, something told me to turn the camera on, that she had a message for the spirit family. So I just turned it on, and it was just at that exact moment that was the message that, you know, the RTM spirit family needed. So, you know, I might go ahead and just do that again, because we always have talks and stuff, and, you know, we're always sharing information and bouncing information off each other. So I might go ahead and get some more information from Mama Solsin to go ahead and share with you all. Some of you already read her book and things like that. But, you know, basically you have to learn to accept certain things about the reality. You know, there's certain things you can't change. And then there's certain things that you can change. You know, like myself, for example, you know, I used to get very, you know, depressed and very stressed out with certain things because I couldn't force, you know, the reality to be the way that I wanted it. There were certain things that I wanted from a materialistic, perspective, I was being very superficial, and I wanted, pretty much what other people, were having that I seen on TV and all that type of stuff. Because I used to watch like MTV Cribs and all that stuff, and I used to want all that stuff, really bad. And then when life wasn't working the way that I wanted it to, and I wasn't manifesting the things that I wanted, it would make me upset, or it'd make me depressed and stressed out. But I got to the point where eventually, I was able to change the subconscious programming of the things that, I actually didn't really want. It was just a program.
I think that's a really good point to make too, is like when you're, go back to this, when you're getting on your spiritual path, that's like one of the biggest things that we have to start to like detach from, is like all these, different desires and wants of like, just having all this physical wealth or this physical matter, because obviously in this experience, we have a balance to that as well. And that's part of like reaching and moving towards that enlightenment, is that you realize that all things have their place, and that you don't have to be some monk out in the mountains that only, meditates under a waterfall all day, and that's all you do. You let go of everything, but from a more detached perspective, you can realize that you can have certain things, but you live in tune with spirit, knowing that these things are only temporary, and that you're actually moving towards something greater than, those physical things or those momentary things that you get, some sort of excitement or, pleasure from.
Mm-hmm. We're here to like break all that programming. Like, it's not bad to like have like material things. Like, people, like he said, like you don't have to be in the mountains and be like a monk to where like you don't communicate with anyone, you don't have anything, you're always having to like pretty much search for the next place that you're having to sustain yourself at. And a lot of people like, yeah, this man-made matrix system was built and it is bad like having it here, but it is here. Like, you can use it to your advantage and still have the things provided for you that they provide, that this system provides. But then you have that awareness, you have that perspective change. You're like, yeah, I might like be able to have, like, I might be able to DoorDash something and get food instantly without going to the store. I might be able to have like a nice car. I might be able to have like certain jewelry I want, or whenever I can get it instantly. I don't have to go places, like I can get it from Amazon. And you can have all this stuff, but like he said, like, you're aware that it's only temporary. If you're balancing it out with your spirit, then you can do all of this stuff and still be at your highest stage of consciousness. You can still be enlightened and have everything material that you would want. It's just the fact that, are you getting too materialistic? Are you getting too in your mind? Because the mind's not bad either. You can just use the mind to get things on the spiritual level and the physical level. Like, the physical ties into the mental and spiritual, the mental ties into the physical and spiritual, and the spiritual ties into the mental and physical. So all of those are just one. Whenever you see it, it's spirit. Like, spirit created all this. Spirit wants you to have this stuff, but spirit wants you to work for it. Not only work for the stuff, but work for spirit. By working for spirit, spirit's going to provide you with this stuff. Spirit's going to be like, oh, okay, you opened a new doorway within yourself. You're going to take action and be more, I'm trying to think of like a word, more pretty much fiery with the things that you need to get done. Like, you're going to have the fire within yourself to do the things that are going to get you the things that you want, because you acted spiritually first. So yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say on that little clip, but the video is almost over, so let's continue to watch.
For sure, definitely gotta just humble ourselves to that and like realize that spirit provides. When we provide the right energy for spirit and for ourselves and for our spirit, then spirit's gonna provide that back. But stay humble about like what you receive. To give more than you receive, but equally be open to receive, because that is part of this experience.
You get what I'm saying? So there's certain things you can change. There's certain programming and stuff that is subconscious that actually isn't a part of who you are. So you can change some of these mental aspects of yourself. But then there's certain aspects of yourself that are you, that you can't change. Like, one of the things for me was, I'm not a very good like planner. You know, and I've talked about this on certain one-on-one calls and stuff. I'm thinking of a call that I did with Sister Jessica, and you know, I was telling her how I'm not a planner. You know, I'm a person that has to go with the flow. As soon as I start planning, you know, that will make me depressed. You know, I'll start feeling like, you know, like pretty much like a robot if I'm following too much of a schedule. Like I got to kind of go with the flow and just, you know, allow spirit to guide me certain places, you know. And that was part of me going through my enlightenment, was being able to accept who I was and being able to accept the reality and what the reality presents itself to me, and not get angry with what's going on. You know, instead now, if something that we may perceive as negative happens in my reality, I use that as kind of like a conduit, kind of like a boost for myself, or a learning experience, and I learn certain lessons from it. So you have to learn how to be able to alchemize the situations and be able to accept what the reality presents towards you. And that's what alchemy is. When you're able to, you know, make lemonade with the lemons that you get. You get what I'm saying? When you're dealt a certain, you know, hand in the cards, you're able to work with those cards. You know, you might have to fool somebody if you're playing Texas Hold'em or something like that. You might not have a really good hand, but you might have to play like you have a good hand, and you can end up winning the game. You can end up getting that big pot. You get what I'm saying? So learn to accept, you know, certain things that you can't control, because the control is the ego. That control, you're trying to control things that you can't control, and because you can't do it, you're always going to be feeling like you're a failure. So to me, at least, what enlightenment is being able to accept yin and yang energy and be able to work with them both, and not allow one or the other to change the direction and change, you know, your navigation in life. So that's pretty much it for this video. I just wanted to share that little information and hopefully provoke some thought and some understanding with you out there. But peace in and out with love, my highest vibrations, and my gratitude.
Vibes to that.
Hi, guys.
So that,
Oh.
get out of here.
Well, hold up.
So,
You want to talk on that?
on that note, yeah, basically, you know, pretty much just sum it up real quick. It's like getting in tune with realizing, like we were saying in the beginning, like that duality is just something that we experience here, and seeing like the yin and yang is something separate is simply, that's the illusion itself. But when you can come back to your true knowing and true connection, you realize that it's all one, and that's all meant for you to grow from, whether it's a bad experience or it's a good experience. You might actually start to realize that, like he was saying, that those negative experiences actually boost you up even more than the positive ones. Like the positive ones might be good, and you feel really good in those moments, you know, experience a lot of, you know, positive energy there. But it's in those negative moments, if you can become the alchemist and become like, okay, I'm being dealt this negative energy, or this certain situation keeps coming to me, and if I can actually learn to respond from a better place of my actual spirit and let go of the ego, let go of the need to control it or expect it to come out a certain way, then you get in tune with knowing that, you know, it's all for your growth, and that those negative experiences actually can boost you even higher than you were before that.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, pretty much summing it up, like what he talked about, and then enlightenment, like it can be very simple on a certain level. Like you just have to apply the information, you have to apply the spiritual action to get to where you're perceiving certain situations now differently, so your ego doesn't come out. But then it's actually staying on that path, which it makes the path to enlightenment hard, which makes dealing with doing this stuff on a day-to-day basis very difficult, because people, they can become spiritual right now. Like they're like, oh, I'm spiritual, but then the next day they're not, the next month they're not, and then maybe for a week they're spiritual, but then the next month they're off. Like this is a path that continuously moves forward, and if you're not moving forward with it, you're gonna get left behind, where the present moment's always moving. So you have to move with the present moment. You have to move with the matrix energies that's moving with the present moment. So this is what our ancestors did. This is what you need to do. But I understand and understand how hard it can be to do that within this system. But if you can do it, that makes you that much more powerful. That makes you that much more intelligent, that much more pretty much open to the fact that you are having this experience and you're a spiritual being, knowing you're a spiritual being, not just pretty much saying like, oh, I'm a spiritual being, but now you're taking action on what a true spiritual being actually does in order to get back to where that state of enlightenment is with you 24/7. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Make sure to check out the other videos on Vibranation as well. Check out vibranation.com for any products to help you on your spiritual path. We have many different ones, and we're adding more to the website very soon. So yeah, pretty much check out our channels, Vibration's channels, Astro's channel, and all these videos are here to help you get turned up.
Thank you guys for watching again.
Thanks.
And stay tuned for next time.
Have vibes.
Peace in and out.